Jonathan Chick with you. Saturday night. I hope everyone had a Shabbat Shalom. Sorry, it's been a bit of about a week before my most recent episode, but it was a very busy week. And of course, Israel is in our minds and hearts with what's been going on. And so we wish that everyone should be safe and sound, and the end of these hostilities should be soon. Tonight is a special episode, sort of like a little bit of cleaning up some odds and ends questions from season 1 and sort of the reader's mailbag. And so I'm going to address 3 questions that were remaining. There's more, but we'll address these 3. And they're all loosely tied together in a way on season 1. If you go all the way back to the first episode of season 1, you see towards the end, they're praying at the cemetery of their mother, of Devorah. What are they praying? Well, they're praying Psalm 119, Tehillim 119. In that psalm, if you look at it, you'll see that there's a Hebrew acrostic where the letters go from the Aleph Bet, from the Hebrew alphabet Aleph till the end Tuf. And there's 8 Pesukim, 8 sentences, verses for each of the letters. So the custom in the cemetery to give a merit to the departed is to recite a verse according to the woman's name. So in this case, it was Devorah, which is a Daled Bet Resh He. So you would say the Daled group of Psukim, which is the letter Daled, the 4th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Then you'd go to Beis, the 2nd letter. Then you'd go to Resh towards the end, and you go back to He. And most people would also do it Devorah Bat, Devorah the daughter of, and mention the father's name and the Hebrew name, and then would say that full thing. And that would be a good merit for the soul of the departed. There are other things that are said at the cemetery, including certain unique chapters of Tehillim, of Psalms. So that's what was going on there. Let's move on to, I believe it was episode 7 with the Sefer Torah. I don't know if I have that episode right, but it was the one where the little baby Torah was found, and they went and they were burying the Torah. That's the one, actually. That's the episode 9, actually, with where Shulam visits his estranged daughter. And the question that I got was regarding, why did they have to bury this Torah? Well, the rules of the writing of the Sefer Torah, of the actual Torah scroll, which includes the exact letters of the Torah that are in the actual Hebrew Bible. And this is one of the most amazing things, because the same letters that were part of the Hebrew Bible all the way back when the Torah was given are the same Hebrew letters that you'll find in the Torah today. There might be some questions of pronunciation or a couple of vowels or letters that could be read in a certain way, but the actual letters are the same. But there are very strict laws about writing those words, those letters in the Torah. There's no nikudot, there are no vowels, and the words have to be written, the letters have to be written according to a very strict law. They're done with a quill, and they're done with parchment, and they're done with special ink. And so basically it's when a Torah has been through some distress, like a fire or smoke, stuff like that, it could damage the Torah beyond repair, or those who survived the Holocaust, the war. It could damage it beyond repair. And certain things could be repaired, but certain letters, when there's cracking in the letters, when the letters are divided, there's so much of it that it's really beyond repair. And that was the case with this Torah. And when the Torah cannot be repaired, that cannot be read, you cannot read on the Torah scroll, you cannot read a Torah that has the words not in a correct way, written in a correct manner, like with the proper lettering and proper, which is done by a sofer, which is a ritual writer of scrolls, then it cannot be used. And so we have a custom to bury the Torah or other Hebrew books that also might not be able to be used due to the damage or whatnot. Even to the point that if you have something with God's name written on it, even if it's just a plain piece of paper with God's full name written out, that has to be buried too. It can't be just thrown out. This shows the very special sort of veneration and that we have towards God, of course, and the Torah, written Torah. Finally, the last question, which in an unfortunate sort of way is related to these previous two, which is talking about death and burials, which is abortion. In the last episode, we have the situation where Gitti is so psychologically and emotionally detached from Lipa, she considers aborting her child because she doesn't want to have a child with this man. Now, abortion, there's so much to say. I could do like a 20-minute thing. I could do like a 2-hour thing on abortion. But the bottom line, for the purposes of this episode, is that abortion can only be done under certain circumstances, but it can be done. We are pro-life, but we also are pro-life of the mother. So, and the mother, the living one, comes first before the one that is not born yet. So if there's a choice between a question about whether the mother will survive the birth, even to a point where it could be an emotional illness that could cause the woman to be even at grave danger, we will choose the mother over the child in the sense of pro-life that way, not against the child, but we will allow the unborn child, to be aborted if the mother is in danger. The preferable time to do this is before 40 days since conception. But even after 40 days in certain circumstances, of course, one must consult with their rabbi and their halachic legal authority in Torah Judaism. But for the most part, we would permit, if there's certainly a danger to the mother, and a danger of life, that's what I'm referring to. Not a danger, if it's an illness that could happen, that's a different thing, but if it's even an illness that could lead to death, then we would also be concerned and do what we need to do. Also, in cases of rape and incest, God forbid, in those cases, due to the circumstance, abortion could take place. Certainly, again, every authority has to be asked, but before 40 days, that would be mostly permitted. After 40 days, it becomes a little bit more complicated. These laws are very specific to each situation. In general, no one should ever take a legal ruling from, something on the internet or a video, even like this one. These are guidelines. These are general ideas for these various laws and things that happen in the Shtisel series to edify us and to help us understand Judaism and the connection with Shtisel. But it's not to be used in a way that we just sort of, okay, well, Jonathan Schick said, Rabbi Jonathan Schick said it's okay, so fine. Every situation is different. But I hope those answers some of those questions that were hanging from season 1. Again, I appreciate all your support and the number of emails I got asking, where's Shtisel Man this last week? So I'm back. The next couple of days are the holiday of Shavuot, which is the Jewish holiday of giving of the Torah. So we talked in this session a little bit about some sad things, but also some positive things, showing the eternity of God's Torah, that the same letters that were used in the Hebrew Bible way back when, in the actual Torah, are the same letters that a sofer, a Torah scroll writer, would be using in making a Torah today. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back with more. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a good evening.